Hey everyone, back with another video, and this time I wanted to have a short chat about these two sabers here, the M1 and the M2 old school classical training sabers by InMotu. And I really hope I got it right. I think I did, because it goes against the way that I would usually do it, which is go from lighter to heavier. So the M1 is the heavier one and the M2 is the lighter one. Either way, the lighter one is also the one that is less expensive, so you'll find out that way. Anyway, I thought it was a good time to just go about these two pieces again, because it's been a while. I've been using both, and I have of course done my individual reviews on each of these pieces, so if you want my thoughts on each individual piece, more photos, and see me fencing each one of them, then just look down in the description. That's where I will put the individual videos I did. So this is basically just a short looking at them together and in contrast a bit more, though I have talked about that in the videos as well. So it's mostly basically talking about the blades, really, because when it comes to the grips, this is all modular, of course, and compatible with sports equipment. So what type of grip really you have, if you use the less expensive one, the more sporty one that InMotu sells, or actually get one from sports fencing suppliers, or if you use the black one here, or even if you just take one from Thingiverse and print it yourself, then that of course is its own thing and will shape how the saber feels. InMotu itself offers a lighter basket. I just have an old one and ordered one where you didn't have the choice at that point, so I think what I have is basically the heavy one. TLDR of the situation would more or less be, if you have the light one compared to the heavy one, then the heavy one is like the light one, just more of it. If you look at the stats, then, you know, if you compare those, that is also how it reads, and that's basically what it is. Having used them for a while, I really like them both. They are similar, but of course different, and it's not just the weight. It reflects to how you can fence with it. As with many heavier blades, this is one, the M1, where you need to work more with the blade, where the M2 is one where you can get away with a lot of changing your mind in the middle of a cut. That can be good or bad depending on how you fence or what you want from your sword. Individually speaking, just, you know, as I said, both good, but what I use them for, what I mostly do, is Hutton, or at least with this kind of saber, really. And when it comes to Hutton, then I'd say the M2 is a bit too light for that to me, and I think Hutton might have said the same, though it might have been fine for him. But the picture that he gave of a saber that he wanted did look a bit more substantial than this one. You can still use this for Hutton absolutely fine, and for beginners it might even be good to have this, because you can train technique with this one a good while longer before getting tired than compared to that one. Now the M1 is a good bit heavier, and as I said in my first video on it, also a good bit heavier. Well, not a good bit, but it is heavier than Paul would have wanted it himself, so it might be a bit lighter. And honestly, I think I'm fine with it, and I like using it, and I can use it for Hutton just fine, or Hutton style fencing. I think though Hutton might have thought this to be a bit too heavy, really, because he did complain about too heavy sabers for nice agile fencing on the Isles, you know, in his time already. So I think this, he might be fine with it, but honestly I think he would have had the same complaint, that the ideal might just be in the middle. Now that's, of course, that would be my ideal choice. If I could make an absolute wish, it would be for Paul to just make one in the middle, but that's, yeah, I know. This is already expensive and difficult enough to do as is, really. But personally, for me, the ideal would really be in the middle. Still, this one is really nice to use if you want to train stamina, and it is nice for beginners. This one is fine for me for Hutton fencing, and I also like it to just have a blade that is a bit more substantial. Not that this one isn't durable. I honestly think that this will have no problem fencing against heavier blades. It's something that I want to test a bit more in the future really, but it's just, it's quite sturdy in its design. One thing that I've heard a number of people ask about is, because this is a tang that is compatible to sports equipment on both of these, it can look comparatively thin really on that one. And I have had people ask me if I thought it would be sturdy enough, durable enough, and honestly that is not a problem that I see. I can understand it looking at it. It does look very thin, and depending on how long you've been with historical fencing, you might be a bit traumatized by rat tail constructions. But this is not a rat tail, it's a thin tang, yes, definitely, but it is made from the same quality material. It's not like a cheap stick of metal that is welded on, really. So I do not see this being a problem, really. Especially not on this, but also not on this. It looks thinner than what you are maybe used to. But yeah, if anything comes up, I will let you know, but I do not really see this as a problem. So a bit of a TLDR then in that case. It's just, ideally I would have something in the middle. Given the choice then, I would use this for my regular Hutton fencing, just because it goes more in the direction of what I've used before, even though it is a bit longer and a bit heavier feeling sometimes than what I've had in the past, or that I would ideally wish for. This one personally for me is just a bit too light, even though it is very nice really in and of itself. I do quite like it. And one use case that I really like with that one is, take the blade, because it is compatible, and if you get your hands on some more classical equipment, is put it on classical sports fencing equipment. And with that, it's really fun to have something that is basically sports fencing, but just a bit more to our HEMA tastes. Not quite sure how to phrase it really. It's a bit more sabery still than like a pure sports saber that can get really light and really quick. It feels a bit more correct in the hand, and it is real fun to fence with. Unfortunately, this is the straight blade, and that's not the unfortunate part. I actually really quite liked it for what it was. For Hutton fencing, I wished for a curved one, but I liked it on its own, and I don't think Paul offers this one anymore, which is a bit of a shame, because on its own it does have its use case, and it is a very nice blade, especially then if you go to like very late saber sources where this blade is not basically straight, but just straight really. But that's another fun use for the M2 really. Put it on classical equipment and then use that. So all in all, enjoy both of these. They have their own niche, I would say. Ideally, I'd have something in the middle, but then, you know, as my mom always said this, you can wish for anything. Just not always sure if you're getting it. And if I'm not getting that, then I'll probably use that one for my like day-to-day Hutton fencing, really, the M1, the heavier one. Might be interesting to see if he does make a lighter one, if the second batch comes out lighter. So we'll see. Until then, cheers.